eno ye Extreme Media UJ. Subscribe for all updates.
Abalungi abatuuliriza era abatulaba olunaku olwaleero tuchaddeko ewa Sheikh Asiraf Dembe.
Sebo sanyusa okubalaba amannya agange yezeseeka Asiraf Dembe akola ku bizibu by'enjawulo omuntu singa balina ebirwadde musomereddwa tumwa amazzi ga lukuya nga bw'obadde ogalaba tugenda abantu ku kyoto ne twokya emizimu emibi egibabaamu n'okulombeddwa abantu singa abeera ng'ali wano atuuse sobola okumulombereddwa ne waba atatuuse nga mpadde amannya ge naye ng'ali wala neetaase enamba yange yeeno eri 0707763711 nammwe bannyinaffe abali ebweru oyagala okuba nti oyagala okulombera ku ddwa ng'olina ebizibu viza zibuze amaka gakolongotana sente zikola zimpita mu ngalo ojja kumpeereza ekifaananyi kyo n'amannya go ebyo byokka bijja kummala nja kukulombera edduwa ojja kutereera olunaku olusembayo mu mwezi mba n'edduwa eyawamu ffenna n'abalwadde bange abakadde n'abapya. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
You know, the state trying to use all manner of tactics to ensure that the National Unity Platform does not have as many candidates. For the youth elections, it was both during nomination exercises and the voting itself when they raided polling stations and did all manner of chaos. For parliamentary elections, I can cite a few examples. You saw what happened in Bukedea, you saw what happened in Mitoma, you saw what happened in Kakumiro and other places where our candidates, without any basis, were blocked from running for office. And so this talk about numbers, you know, I mean, people need to understand the real situation in our country. You cannot, you know, first of all, make it very, very difficult for opposition parties to do their work, to mobilize. I mean, every time we go out there mobilizing our people, setting up structures, you've seen what they normally do. They will come round up people, arrest them, abduct others. You know, some of our people are still in detention, others are missing for no reason whatsoever. So when there is that kind of environment which suppresses the opposition, then you come on TV gloating, you know, that some of your candidates are unopposed. You should be ashamed of yourself, because for candidates to be unopposed, it should be through a transparent process. All political parties should have an opportunity to present their candidates, and their candidates should be nominated if they meet the requirements, and then they go out there and campaign, and then the people of Uganda get to decide. But where you make it very, very difficult for opposition parties, first of all, to be able to get the finances they need to operate, then you make it very, very impossible to operate, you know, to be able to build structures, to be able to do the work they are supposed to do. You have seen, the nation has seen us open different headquarters in different parts of the country. But you've noticed that in all these cases, we have to go stealthily. We have to purchase land stealthily, set up our structures stealthily until we launch these offices. Why? Because we know that if the regime gets to know in advance, they will certainly block the entire exercise, the entire process. So the NRM people who are speaking must be ashamed of themselves, because once you make the environment almost impossible for the opposition to operate in a country, then you come up gloating that, you know, we have an opposite candidates, that we have so many candidates. That is very, very shameful. I want to associate myself with the words of the Honorable Semujunganda to say that, yes, you've now gotten some of these numbers illegally and unfairly, and what that does actually is to increase the anger of the population about the protest vote that we are going for. So we believe that the people of Uganda will be able to come out in large numbers for the presidential election and say enough is enough to whatever is going on.
Louis, do you worry that the new players on the block are eating into your strongholds?
I don't think there's any. First of all, for us, our aim is we are fighting against the NRM regime. You know, the NRM regime and its agents and those it associates with and all that. So that's our target. That's the enemy. That's where we are putting all our energies. Not on any other, you know, whatever you're calling other forces and all that. Because in Uganda right now, there are two options. One is the oppressors, the other ones are the oppressed. So the people of Uganda will have an opportunity come January to determine whether they are going to stay under the same conditions or to change. And as far as we know, the National Unity Platform represents that change. We are delighted by those other comrades in other forces who associate with our message, who we've been working with, who we've been discussing with and talking with to see that we advance the cause. You've seen us a number of times engage with our comrades in the PFF. You've seen us engage UPC and other like-minded forces of change. So we are glad that we can move with those comrades to see that we bring about change in this country. All the others, I can say, are diversions.
Moses would love to engage you with a question here.
You say you are working with other people like PFF to the enemy, but Honorable Semuju here has a candidate from NUP in his constituency, somebody called Musisi, and even for the Lord Mayor of Kampala, NUP has a candidate against them. So what are those candidates doing? Are they just escorting the
incumbents?
The incumbents, or they are serious to unseat them from their seats?
Against some of those candidates does not take away the fact that we are pursuing the same objective of changing our country. You know, the main objective is to remove General Museveni and his decadent system that has brought our country to its knees. Our presidential candidate, the Honorable Sentamu Kyagulanyi, today was meant to be in Karenga, but he could not get there on time because of the terrible state of roads. So, if that is the situation that is happening in the country, healthcare, education and all that, we can come back to talk about the parliamentary seats you're talking about, but the main objective is to bring about a change that every Ugandan can be, proud of. So we are a political party, and a political party which definitely called for expression of interest, and people express interest in all positions. And we could not ring fence certain positions and say, these ones are not going to field candidates and all that. So yes, in fact, that should be healthy if we had a democratic society. Political parties can cooperate at certain levels, strategic levels, even when they are competing with each other at the lower levels. So I don't see any contradiction whatsoever.
How painful is it that the DF took on some of your members who had been with you for a while, but who were denied an opportunity or who were denied party cards representation?
I would rather focus on the NRM, which is the one with the ball, which we are struggling to get the ball from. And that ball is what we talk about, the victor's crown, the good governance. We've presented a manifesto to this nation with 11 principal points, the policy points that we are talking about. So I would rather focus on that and not focus on, the other things you're trying to talk about, because ultimately they are not the ones with the ball. What we are trying to pursue is a greater objective, and that is redemption of this nation.
Bodongoto has a question for you.
No, I just have a very honest submission. I think at 48 years, I should be a little more frank. There is a lot more deception in NUP than what the eyes can see. I know what I'm talking about. Because for heaven's sake, Alan Sewanyana nearly died in prison. And he comes out and the party card is given to someone's girlfriend. This is not how you run a political party. I have been in several street battles with Honorable Matthias Mpuuga while the leader of opposition. NUP pushes him out of his position because the fear is more prominent than Bobby Wine. Semuju Ibrahim is one MP. I would rather than an election, but not Semuju. And then find NUP, fund people day and night to get Semuju out of parliament. So this raises credibility in the eyes of some of us that what the hell is NUP in this Uganda? We need answers.
Mr. Rubongoya, over to you.
Again, like I said, this country unfortunately has so many, people who you see moving around, and but their objectives are well known, and the nations sadly are meant to derail whatever gains the people of Uganda are making in terms of trying to redeem themselves from the mess that we find ourselves. So what I want to say is that when the party puts out a process and people contest in that process, you go in that process knowing that you're going to either emerge victorious or not emerge victorious. Any serious person who can think will realize some of our incumbents made it, others did not make it. Some newcomers made it, others did not make it. So I don't want anybody to be misleading the public to say that there are people who should be untouchable, who should, you know, when you put out a process and say, come and participate in this process, then it has to be open, it has to be transparent, it has to be fair, and that is what we follow. In NUP, we don't bring first positions. We say that we are going to give 60% based on the ground survey, we are going to give 40% based on the, you know, vetting committee, and whoever you are, if you do not make it through that system, unfortunately, cannot just grant you the card. Because what I think Honorable Odongo calls us is to be corrupt, is not to follow the principles that we put in place. Because if we put a system in place, we must follow it. That is the kind of country we want to build, where we stand on principle. You know, you've just talked about the Honorable Matthias, who is in the studio, and everybody knows you're talking about here and all that. There was a clear issue about which we considered extremely wrong, which we considered immoral, and it was out there in the public. Everybody knows what that issue was. So when you come here and you start saying, because they, I mean, what are you talking about?
Honorable Mpuuga has been mentioned here. In all fairness, you need to make a rebuttal to.
There's nothing to rebut about. Mr. Rubongoya knows the level of fraud in which he is seated personally, and I'm not about that kind of altercation. He knows himself, he knows so well, he knows how much, both as an individual, the region of the party, as a party and as peace advocates, what they have been doing, public funds. He knows the kind of fraud and extortion of NUP members that he has been involved in personally. Actually, if I were police, I would open an open file to investigate that party. But we are here to discuss progression, and I hesitate to discuss the past of Mr. Rubongoya because he knows so well that things that would rather let the public eventually judge him upon. For him to engage with me personally, I don't know why he didn't come here. I saw him around here. Why did he come and sit here? Did you choose to sit away in a curtain and start speaking from a curtain? He was around here. Why did you come here to a panel? So I rather that we focus on serious matters of the party. You are very curious about the. And we believe that being a younger party, for us, for the candidate, we must apologize to the nation. That please forgive us, we have a candidate in Masaka City. Please forgive us, we are going to Aru County. But you know for a fact that we founded NUP, we nominated over 300 candidates in a period of 3 months. Was that a crisis? Was that a miracle? I've been around for a while, and I have a fair understanding of what it takes to build an organization. The
final of Honorable Rubongoya.
Leave Rubongoya alone. He has nothing to say. He knows.
He has something to say. We invited.
He should have come here to say it from here.
Unfortunately, there wasn't sufficient space, so we had a studio.
So the next time you call a baraza, call him to be part of it and speak to him face to face. Otherwise, there's no point in him hiding in the curtain to say things I cannot defend publicly. So I'd rather ignore him. But you see,
there is a sense that this whole nomination craze is opening old wounds.
Simon, let's go systematically. We are DF. The others are other parties. We have our turf. It's our
But you're fishing
listen?
You're fishing from Noop's pond.
Please listen. We are a party. When we raise a flag, we raise an opportunity. We make rallying calls. We raise our standpoint of view. We expose our ideology. We expose our approach. You ask any of these members here, they came from other parties. When we were founding the NUP, the Honorable Shabe was still finding place to hide his yellow garbs to join the NUP. We did not accuse him of running away from NRM to come to NUP. It was personal. It was a personal choice. So when people join parties, don't accuse them of running away from places where they have no breath. So the DF has an obligation to incubate an ideology, to identify people to join, and mark you. I've been around for a long time, which is why I know who to speak to in Busoga.
Well,
I know who to speak to in Teso. I know who to speak to in Acholi, in Lango. Actually, we have been approaching so many people. Some blind, and chose to run as independents. Others joined. We actually even declined people who were willing to join us. And that's a natural law.
Mr. Rubongoya, don't you find it rather amazing or rather intriguing that a new party has been able to make inroads across the country? And what does this mean for the grip that NUP has had as the leading opposition?
First of all, I think I need to respond to what has been said here. First of all, I did not want to mention the Honorable Mpuuga here, because as far as we are concerned, he's in the past. It is Honorable Donga Oto who brought up his name, and I was duty bound to respond. And he's just making innuendos, crazy innuendos. He has a case to answer before the people of Uganda about a service award that he gave to himself, when the National Unity Platform gave him an opportunity. And that is what caused him problems. I think that is something he needs to explain to the people of Uganda than make ridiculous claims about NUP and all that. If he has any evidence, let him bring it forth. Than just make those kinds of ridiculous allegations. But like I said, I wouldn't want to exchange with him because, Simon, what we're dealing with are very, very important matters of national importance. We have a nation to deliver from the mess it finds itself in. General Museveni has mastered the art of, people, using all manner of people, and he does it best when an election season comes along. He wants to create discord, confusion, and all that, so that instead of focusing on him, you're focusing on his surrogates and all that. And we don't want to be in that kind of situation. What I can say is the National Unity Platform is on course. The National Unity Platform is striving to change this country, and it will change this country. All we are asking the people of Uganda to trust us, and you can see it across the country. The pulse of the people can be felt everywhere, that the people of Uganda are saying that the National Unity Platform is the solution, is what is going to deliver them from the mess in which they find themselves.
Let's hear from Honorable Nsamba.
Thank you very much, Simon. Two things I want to clear before I come to that. Allow me. One, my Secretary General was supposed to sit here. And unfortunately, because of the miscommunication on the invitation, we found ourselves both together here. So I want to appreciate NBS that thought about creating another room where I can speak. So it is not true that what Honorable Mpuuga has said, that is behind the curtain. So I wanted to clear that. That is in Kamori, that is not true. NBS, thank you for creating another space where my Secretary General can speak. And thank you for your submission, sir. Secondly, Honorable Mathias Mpuuga is being so unfair to the public of Uganda for having concealed information about how the fraud the Secretary General of NUP makes. Yet when NUP found that he has a fraud in his office, NUP came out and told the public that there is a problem here. And unfortunately, Mr. Honorable Mpuuga failing to explain that, he's saying that also Rubongoya.
Will you ever get over this?
I'm just clearing.
Okay.
I'm just asking Honorable Mathias Mpuuga to come out and be fair to the people of Uganda and clearly say these are the messes Rubongoya has made. Then you will have helped us who are in National Unity Platform to appreciate and know this is true or wrong. Now going back to the issue of nominations of candidates. Nomination of candidates. It is a known fact. I've been independent in I've been unopposed in NUP primaries. I saw so many of my colleagues suffering or contesting with others, many of them. I became unopposed not with impunity, not with power, not that I excluded the others. Now, when NRM is saying that we have unopposed candidates, the question is, how many of those are you proud about? That these ones came out without suffocating others?
All of them.
And that's a lie. The public knows at least. We have young people. We have young men who wanted to contest against those powerful people in this country. But they blocked them. They blocked them. We have a case in We have a case in where an NUP candidate was blocked in Nabanja's constituency. We have cases where in Deputy Speaker, the petitions are on. Deputy Speaker's constituency, he came unopposed, but we had a candidate there. Now this that he's talking about, what you're talking about is the fraud of NRM. NRM, when we talk about fraud, you're number one.
So NRM is celebrating fraud.
Yeah, exactly. They're celebrating fraud. You cannot sit here in these chairs of NBS where the public is waiting. You celebrate where you have closed off all avenues of political parties to go and mobilize. And you stand here and say, we have nominated so many. You are doing the disservice. You should be ashamed, the NRM.
Thank you, Honorable Nsamba. Honorable Mpuuga, to what extent is the opposition on a litmus test in this election across the entire stream?
You know, Simon, we have been consistent as the DF inter alia urging the opposition, even with numerous points of disagreement, to find reason to congregate and raise a joint platform to be able to speak to the nation with one voice about what needs to be done. And we did our best. We visited parties, we wrote to parties, trying to appeal to common sense. And this did not really arouse the curiosity of parties at what needs to be done. Again, as the team leader of the DF, we advised colleagues in the different platforms to prioritize electoral reforms, to be able to have a chance to contest and even make further inroads. Now, what we hear now from all platforms from the opposition are cries in the wild. There was time, there was chance, and any talk of there are those we are speaking to is deception. And I hesitate for anybody to rise on a national television to say that, you see, we are speaking to people, when actually, like the Honorable Somja said, you are actually abusing everyone. I heard one of the leaders in one of the opposition platforms say, whoever is not holding this flag is working for the NRM. And I said, come on.
To be precise, that was Honorable Mwanga Chivumbi.
And I hesitated to imagine that is this comrade in his right senses? But it is him. Probably that is their imagination. So the opposition in this season has a huge challenge.
So it's the opposition now pitting itself against the opposition.
Well, Simon,
you seem to have lost focus on the big ball.
Certainly. I had one of the panelists in the curtain say that he has had people expending a lot of energy on the NUP. The NUP has actually been expending energy, resources, and their little capacity on individuals. And how much time has been lost in these small petty contests? And which is why I even hesitate to respond to the Honorable Oshabe, because I advise him to keep his peace, because he knows so well that at my level, I know so much, but I'm an adult. There are things as a leader to say, well, that time will judge. I cannot go speaking on every microphone about what I know, what I have seen.
You made accusations.
That makes...
You pointed to the party being a fraudulent outfit.
You know, Simon, that's why I say when I make that, God makes self-introspection. The person I choose, God make introspection. Find out what's going on with you. And you see, the opposition needs to understand that at no one time shall we be in agreement about everything while trying to crawl back. When I propose reforms with my team, we're not saying that we shall have the entire reforms. We actually call them crawl-back reforms, crawl-back legislation, an opportunity to try and give ourselves a chance. 2 days ago, the Electoral Commission announced delivery of 60,000 biometric, machines. Questions the opposition should have raised years ago. What is this? Where is the law? What's their involvement as actors? So when you hear people cry in the wild, when actually they had a chance to do something, it is the other meaning of political deception. And I think we have reason to worry about the future.
Honorable Dongo.
But let me say this, Simon, because we don't want to make half-hearted statements. The opposition has a chance to show cause why we should be trusted. But for the people of Uganda watching this space, where you see the opposition fighting about positions of parliament, councillors, mayors simply elect the right person from the opposition, because the business of regime change is just starting. And the colleague saying it's over, I think again is deception.
Abalungi abatuuliriza era abatulaba olunaku olwaleero tuchaddeko ewa Sheikh Asiraf Dembe.
Sebo sanyusa okubalaba amannya agange yeze Sheikh Asiraf Dembe akola ku bizibu by'enjawulo omuntu singa abalina ebirwadde musomereddwa tunywa amazzi ga lukuya nga bw'obadde ogalaba tugenda abantu ku kyoto ne twokya emizimu emibi egibabaamu n'okulomba edduwa abantu singa abeera ng'ali wano atuuse sobola okumulombera edduwa ne waba atatuuse nga mpadde amannya ge naye ng'ali wala maneetaase enamba yange yeno eri 0707363711 namwe banyinaffe abali ebweru oyagala okuba nti oyagala okulombera ku dduwa ng'olina ebizibu viza zibuze amaka gakolongotana sente zikola zimpita mu ngalo ojja kumpeereza ekifaananyi kyo n'amanyago ebyo byokka bijja kummala nja kukulombera edduwa ojja kutereera olunaku olusembayo mu mwezi mba n'edduwa eyawamu ffenna n'abalwadde bange abakadde n'abapya. Salaamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.